Hi friends, in this video I am going to talk about how to host a successful Session 0 for your TTRPG focusing on comfortability, safety, and more. My name is Jess and I have been playing TTRPGs for the last 5 years or so, producing them for the last 2 years or so, and in that amount of time I can't tell you how many Session 0s I have been a part of. Whether you are streaming a game, playing offline, playing in a campaign, a short shot, or even a one-shot, I think that having a Session 0 is incredibly important so all of your players as well as your GM are on the same page with the game that you're going to be playing together. A thorough Session 0 can be achieved in an hour or less, and it can leave all parties feeling really good and excited about the game that y'all are going to be playing together. This may seem a little silly, but hear me out. I have attended Session 0s that don't immediately start with introductions, and the group didn't immediately mesh with each other. Introductions can be as simple as, "Hi, my name is Jess, my pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I am so excited to play with you all." And they can be as in-depth as, "Hi, my name is Jess, my pronouns are they, them, theirs. Here are some notable things that you might have seen me do in TTRPGs. Here's a fun fact about me. Here are the player types that I like to play." I think that introductions really help break the ice and make sure that nobody is a complete stranger at the table during your Session 0. Safety is important in TTRPGs, and that's why before each Session 0, I try to send out a lines and veils sheet for each player, including the GM, to fill out. Those are then compiled into one sheet, and then we look through that as a group, giving us our lines and veils. To get a little deeper into that, a line is something that's not going to be crossed at all during the game. It won't be brought up in any way, not even a mention. My standard lines are racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and sexual assault, whereas a veil is something that can be present in a way, but it's not going to be described in detail. Currently, I don't have any veils, but I know when I first started playing D&D, I had a pretty traumatic knee injury. I tore my ACL, and I had undergone like 3 different procedures. It was a really bad healing process, and I really just didn't want to think of that kind of pain or any knee pain at all as I was playing a game with my friends. Your lines and veils should also cover how you're going to handle romance and sex in your games. I know for many, explicit romance and explicit sex is a no, so it's always good knowing that up front that people are uncomfortable and don't want that in the game. I think it's also important to check with your players and your GM to figure out if this was a movie, what a rating would it have? Would it be G, PG-13, PG? Would it be R-rated? And kind of setting up, you know, if it's going to be R-rated, is that because of sexual content? Is that because of violence? Is it because of cursing? I know that a lot of games I play in, folks mostly teeter on the PG-13 side, but want to be able to curse in the game. And that's, you know, you only get one F-bomb if you are doing a PG-13 game. And finally, for safety tools, I think it's a really good idea for everyone to be on the same page about identifying a line or a veil on the spot that wasn't previously identified. Really great tool is the X card, either using your fingers to make an X or making an X with your arms, putting an X in the chat that everyone can read, saying X out loud, or physically saying, "I don't feel comfortable with this, can we move on?" You want everyone to be comfortable at the table, and if someone identifies a problem topic in the moment, you want to be able to quickly pivot on to a different scene where everyone does feel more comfortable. If this is a player's first time playing whatever game that you are playing, let's say Thirsty Sword Lesbians, it's a great idea to explain some of the core mechanics like strings, playbooks, etc., instead of relying on your players trying to teach themselves how to play by looking at the book. After everyone knows how to play the game, I would say that it's time for the GM to give a primer of the adventure at hand. That'll help the players decide what kind of character to create, whether it's a swashbuckling pirate or a devilish thief of the city. The players can then start to weave their backstories in with each other as they'd like. And finally, if you're not crunched for time, I think having the players being involved in the world building before the game starts is such a lovely way to keep them engaged in the story immediately. It's hard not to have buy-in to a story when you are a part of making the world around it. This could be as simple as helping come up with a few NPCs or what the region or town is called, to having the party come up with rumors around the town, in-game lore, and more. Sharif Jackson did this with our group on a Kids on Bikes charity stream last year for March of Dimes, and y'all, it was so much fun seeing the creativity of the group as they came together to name our ice cream hating town. It was so much fun. I also think that noting, if this is an ongoing campaign, figuring out how the games will go if someone can't make it to a session is very worthwhile talking about. Some folks are okay with missing a session or two and having the party continue on without them while their characters are kind of on autopilot in the background. Other folks might prefer that the group reschedules. Figuring this out ahead of time so you don't have to do mental gymnastics the first or second time you have someone have a scheduling conflict arise is definitely worth the chat during session 0. I also personally like to tell folks that they are a real person with real lives and real responsibilities, and that if something comes up and they can't play, I'm not going to be mad at you. The other players aren't going to be mad at you. Your real life comes first. We can always play a silly little guy together at a different time. I especially do this for my stream games. It's okay if something comes up and you can't make it, or if you're sick, or anything at all. Even if it's in the middle of the game, the layout can be fixed. Again, their life is more important than this particular game. And that's pretty much everything that I do to host a successful TTRPG session 0 to make sure all of the players are prepped and ready for a game that leaves everyone feeling excited. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you do special in your session 0s that I didn't cover today.